Omar here from my point of view, and today I have this 2019 Chevrolet Cruze. The Cruze has been discontinued, so I really, believe it or not, I really did want to get my hands on this Cruze. I'm gonna compare this to the Honda Civic. That's my third video, compared to the Honda Civic and other compact cars I've driven that I'll mention later on in the video. But this is the L trim level. The trim levels will be up here. It doesn't show L, but it was the LT, LS, Premier, whatever. The badge will be up here, but since it's the lowest, the base of the base, no badge on the back. The LS can have these small little wheels as its L trim level as well. Overall, the rear, the styling is okay. It's kind of, I mean, it's just a car, to be honest with you. This is just basic design. Thankfully, Chevrolet didn't overdo it with like a fake exhaust tip. Side proportion is okay. I mean, the Cruze doesn't really have that much of a good reputation itself, but it's just a transportation. This is how I could just see the Chevrolet Cruze. Just when someone says a car, this is what I think of, just a basic type of car. And the front of it, it has Chevrolet signature styling up in the front, but the Cruze to me is just one of my least favorite compact cars, so I hope I don't seem too biased. As much as I like the Malibu, it's the same way as I kind of dislike the Chevrolet Cruze, but it does have some pros, and I'll get to that in the video. Kind of wasted time on the styling. Let's just go and get right up into it. So here's the key to the Chevrolet Cruze. You do have the option of having a push button start, but this one has the actual key. This is actually a different key fob than the Chevrolet Impala that I showed you earlier, and the Chevrolet Equinox as well. So different little key, and also different from the Silverado. So this Cruze, I think this is the only car with this type of key fob, I believe. Nevertheless, so the doors are locked. There is no smart entry whatsoever, so you have to unlock the door. Hopping on inside. Me being 6'9", believe it or not, I do have leg room. I mean, it's not like a Buick Regal type of leg room, but for a compact car and for some of my height, if I put my feet behind the brake pedal, yeah, I could just rest it here for a couple of seconds and I'll be okay. Hood release got pulled twice for some reason. Got your parking brake, which is very, very firm. That's very. The pedal itself is very tiny, and you have to press very hard just to engage the parking brake, which I dislike. Insert the key in real quick. Now I do have my seatbelt on. That's the reason why it's not bogging. But I just went over the leg room in the Cruze and compared to the Honda Civic. I mean, I can fit a Honda Civic better than I can fit in a Honda Accord slightly, but this is just superior. But also note that the 2019 Corolla and up is about the same as well as the Cruze. So the Cruze is the only compact car which I can stretch my legs out. Hopefully I get to review the Toyota Corolla in the future. But the main comparison I want to go over between the base Civic that I drove and this base L trim level Cruze is actually the infotainment center. Easy to use, auto, phone, Wi-Fi hotspots, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, etc. I mean, this thing is actually all what you really need. It's actually pretty good for a base trim level. Some cars, manufacturers make you upgrade to a higher trim level, but this is all you pretty much need. So climate control is pretty simple, straightforward to use. You got your fan speed right here. You got your position, so everywhere you want the airflow. AC, temperature gauge, that's it. If you had a dual option, obviously this would be driver side, passenger side, but this is pretty much simple. You have two USB storages down here, one auxiliary cord, and a 12-volt socket right here. Your gear lever, which I will definitely get to that in a second. Two cup holders, and would you look at this, for 2019, auto off. And you got your traction control button right here as well. I'm not for sure what will be here, but we are on the L trim level. Due to the coronavirus, I don't want to go to any car dealerships. And you have a very small storage space right here, but let's see the glove compartment. Decent size. Let's just go ahead and just get into it real quick. The build quality of this thing, I I kind of question who designed this car. Because as you can see right now, the vehicle is obviously in park. I'm not moving anywhere, my foot's off the brake. But if I put my hand like right here, it looks like the gear lever is actually in neutral. And if I put it down into drive, my goodness, look at the position of it. Let me just put it down to low range. It's not even a direct correlation between the gear lever, the selector down here. There is no direct correlation whatsoever. It's just a very long throw. It's not actually a long throw. It's not like the Honda Accords or the Civics. It's just not positioned right to level up right here. Obviously this lights up, you can see it, but this is just one of the things I find so awkward. Like, look, I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's kind of, all windows actually do go down automatically, and actually the rear doors go all the way completely down, which is nice. So I just move up the passenger seat just a little bit, and it is kind of it's not bad for me to get in here. Shutting the door. I mean, I got leg room, just. This is a compact car, so I can't really judge it hard, but there is not enough headroom here for me, and I am kind of slouching just a little bit. Can't really sit up straight. But once again, this is a compact car, so I can't judge it too hard. You have no cup holders here. There's no little armrest that comes down right here. Very simple and basic back here. No air vents. I'm pretty sure air vents are optional. No USBs down here. No nothing. Again, I can't really knock it because this is the L trim level. And with the L trim level, you don't even have an option for floor mats. Now, you have a good thing is if the doors are unlocked, you just put your hand back here and there's a button you can press to open up the trunk lid. You do have a spare tire back here, surprisingly, for the base trim level. But anyways, let me go ahead and just open up the trunk real quick. Pulled it twice, as instructed. And when I first got into it, I just realized that something was completely off about this car. This is being the L trim level. This is actually made for fleet. What sets this different, this L trim level, the 2019 versus the other, like LS and LT trim levels, it's not just its engine. You can actually get the Cruze in a diesel, but I'm not gonna talk about that. But the transmission is different because this one is paired to a CVT. For the 2019s, ones for retail, like the ones you could get straight out of a dealership, it's actually made it to the old, or still current, 6-speed automatic gearbox. Now the 6-speed, I was not a fan of in a Chevrolet Impala, but with this Ecotec 4-cylinder, the turbocharged, the 1.4, which this is, and the 1.5 in the Malibu, the 6-speed actually kind of suits the engine, so it's no biggie. But once again, this actually made it to a CVT transmission. The engine output is the same, so you have 153 brake horsepower and 177 foot-pounds of torque. It's actually really close to the Malibu's horsepower torque figures, and this is, remember, a compact car. But nevertheless, so the only difference is for the CVT, you get 30 miles per gallon on the city, but with the 6-speed, you get 28. The highway is the same between the CVT and the 6-speed automatic. That's both at 38 mpgs. And then for combined overall, of course, the CVT is 33 miles per gallon combined, and the 6-speed is actually 32. So it's not really that much of a difference, except for the city. All depends for your driving takes. And I get to more about how the CVT feels and drives compared to the 6-speed. All right, so let's just actually go for a drive. So as I was talking about the MPGs, I actually do have my real world testing. So I had this thing just for a day, and I've already put 140 miles on it. And I've actually, average fuel economy is 32.3. Now, I did do, not highway driving as in 70 miles an hour. I was in the back country roads going about an average of 60 miles an hour. And a little bit of stop and go. I believe I just kissed 34 miles per gallon combined. And this is the CVT model. So the only way you can get your hands on the CVT, General Motors did not sell this car to the public in the CVT trim, but for fleet. So I guess Enterprise and Hertz as well. If you're interested, I think that's the only way you can get the CVT. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and go for a drive. Now, since it's being a CVT, you don't have the option to change your gear down here on the gear lever. It'll have that same little gear lever like you did in the Malibu. But that doesn't make sense because the Malibu is a CVT as well. Oh well. Me personally, I think this was a testing mule for Chevrolet with the CVTs. So driving in that is actually not it's not as quick to turn in as the Honda Civic, but it handles better than something like the Elantra. But this one is smooth to drive if it hasn't been abused. I have no complaint about that. Turning is nice. Hey, yeah, handling is actually pretty good in the Chevrolet Cruze. Set for the backwards visibility. This kind of hunches up a little bit, and if you're sitting very low like I am, looking at the back, the rear window space is very small, limited. But visibility out the front is actually pretty good. You do have little window inserts in the A-pillars. And also I talked about how the Cruze is different from the other Chevys in the lineup. Even the wipers are different. This is usually what Ford uses, this little pattern on the wipers. That's basically on pretty much all Ford products. I think this is the only Chevrolet with these type of wipers. I know the Sonic doesn't have it, the Malibu doesn't have it, Impala doesn't have it. Yeah, this is different. Why is this car so different from the others? This puts down this power so much better than the base Honda Civic. This with the CVT, yes, I just said it. The Chevrolet Cruze feels faster to me than the Honda Civic I just reviewed. See, that CVT, it takes a long time for it to get up and go in the Honda Civic. I believe if I was on a short circuit, I would be neck and neck between this and the Honda Civic. Now, I'm not saying this is the best compact car in the world, by far, but I give credit where it's due. I'm actually impressed by this 1.4 liter. I mean, go over the bumps is not so bad. The car can handle it. It's just, I'm not feeling the comfort of these seats. Hopefully, it was probably a different story for you. And I was really gonna just rag on this car, but honestly, it's, again, I had to give it, it's a fair car. You shouldn't go out hunting for a CVT transmission Chevrolet Cruze. To me, I mean, the numbers on the paper, they're very identical. I mean, extremely identical. How long would the CVT transmission last versus the 6-speed? Only time will tell. I mean, I did 30 plus miles per gallon on city and highway type of driving. It isn't as loud at highway speeds, around 55, 60 miles an hour. The brakes are actually pretty good. Visibility is good as well, from the front at least. Another thing I don't like is with the CVT, it takes a very long time for it to get to park to drive. And I didn't have time to actually demonstrate that for you guys. Like I said in the Chrysler Pacifica video, once you insert into the gear, give it a second or two. This occasionally takes a very long time to get situated from park to drive. I don't know what it is. If you're looking for a compact car, there are plenty, and I mean plenty, of other options you should choose from this. And this actually sits in the market kind of well. It handles well better than Elantra. It does pretty good gas mileage. This CVT, if you ever find one, and the 6-speed as well. Yeah, the L trim level is definitely not my type. If I were to get this type of car, it would probably be the Premier, and it'd probably be the hatch version as well. I absolutely love the hatch version of the Cruze. I like the style of it. You just have other options. Just remember that. You always have other options when it comes to compact cars. But from my point of view, thank you guys so much for watching. See you next video.